Traumatized!
Hey guys, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to the Cinematic Reviewer. Today I'm talking about The Substance. This one I saw on Halloween Day. It happened to be the first day that it was not going to be... technically it was still at the theaters, but this was the first day that Movie had it on their streaming service, so I went ahead, got their free trial, I went ahead and watched it, because so many people were talking about it. They were like, oh, you gotta watch this movie, it's great. So I'm like, well... I kept debating. I kept being like, this might be too much for me. They keep saying there's body horror in it, and I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch scary movies. Like, that's just not for me. That's just not what I do. And, they kept talking about it, and I know, like, her back opens up and the person comes through, and I thought that's what they meant by, oh, dude, there's body horror in this. That is not what they meant. Yes, technically that was a little bit of body horror, but that was like, compared to how it continues in the movie. But yeah, like I just kept, having a little toss up there, but I decided, okay, let's go ahead and give it a try. And dude, this movie was absolutely insane. There's certain parts, like for the most part, I'm okay now. For the most part, like I did have to take a couple days to be chill. It definitely had a little bit of traumatic moments. And there are certain things with, like, the human body now. I'm like, ah! But for the most part, it's okay. It's okay. But, yeah, I have plenty to say about The Substance. It's a little nuts. So, one of the first things I did, like, after I watched it, I did a little voice memo. So I'll go ahead and put that here first. And then I'm going to continue talking about my thoughts.
Okay. So I guess I can go ahead and talk about The Substance. It's absolutely insane. I did enjoy the first and second arcs, the beginning and middle. That was fine. It definitely is a very long movie. It doesn't need to be as long as it is. I think the acting was very good. The primary song was very good. I do think the messaging of this movie is very good, very important, very applicable to current society. But as someone who doesn't watch horror movies at all, that last part, dude, that was disgusting. Absolutely not. Throughout the movie, even with the good parts, they definitely did a lot of really gross showing of food and everything. That was pretty sickening. I actually had to take like a couple hours after watching the movie to be cool with eating again. I'm like, ew, it's so gross. And then with everything that happens with the combo of Elisabeth and Sue, that was insane. And I think it's one of those movies where, yes, there were multiple times I wasn't looking at the screen anymore. Especially the sound, dude, the number of noises that it makes. Oh, that was so disgusting. But with everything going on, like I did need to give my cat some cuddles because I'm like, I need some comfort. But it's like one of those where it's way worse after you watch it. It's almost more okay while you're watching it. It was way worse after the fact. It's like, I hope I can sleep well tonight. But I don't know. I feel conflicted on like, was it worth watching or not? I think it was interesting. But, like, dude, that brutal. Very, very brutal.
Yeah, I'd say this movie was pretty traumatizing in certain aspects, but I did watch this video, pretty soon after I watched the movie that really did a good job of analyzing the movie, its strengths, its weaknesses, like, just in general, and it really showed me how good, there's still aspects of the movie I still enjoyed, even after some of the super crazy stuff that happens, 30 minutes till the end of the movie. Yikes. But all in all, it was a pretty good video, so I'll go ahead and link that video down below. But I thought it was a very good video, but it definitely told me some things that I did not know. Like, I did not know they really, with the younger actress, they really tried to make her the perfect woman, like the super curated, super adapted, not natural woman, right? So, as it turns out, those are not her breasts in the movie. Like, they made prosthetic breasts for her. And so, like, yeah, they did a lot of things. Obviously, they increased regimen. They did certain things with actual makeup, other sorts of things. They really tried to make her as perfect as she could be, the perfect woman. So definitely some interesting things there. I like things that didn't really occur to me that would be what it would be. So I thought that was definitely interesting. I definitely felt some similar vibes for myself and the movie in general with Jennifer's Body. I watched Jennifer's Body because I heard plenty of word of mouth, plenty of good things about it. So I went ahead and tried it. And of course, both Jennifer's Body and The Substance are both very feminist movies. Now, I will say, The Substance, for a good part of it, I did enjoy it, okay? Like, I do see a good part of the merit, lots of great aspects to the movie, okay? For me, Jennifer's Body just didn't hit for me. It was not super impressive to me. Like, hey, I'm all for this girl going ahead and eating all the boys. Like, girl power, let's do it. But that movie just in general didn't really work for me. But I just thought that was interesting. Both those movies, but obviously a little different for Jennifer's Body versus The Substance. Plenty of hype right up front for The Substance, and Jennifer's Body didn't get that effect till way later after it came out. But in general, yeah, I'd say Substance is just better than Jennifer's Body. I think the first act, the second act, great, awesome. There are aspects of those parts that were a little much. The food horror, obviously. Definitely certain aspects that are pretty gross, pretty, but in particular, those last 30 minutes, just that ending, like, that was freaky. And I did not want to keep watching. I pushed through because I thought there'd be something that would be important. If I had to do it over again, I would have stopped right away. It's like, okay, that's enough of that. At the very least, get to the end part. But otherwise, I did watch it all the way through. Because it's not just what they do with the prosthetics to make the creature. The Eliza Sue monster, is that what they called it? But besides just that, it's the squelching noises. The noises they had for that. Oh, ew, it was so gross. It was so gross. I was so disgusted. And yeah, it happened to be my cat was wandering around, so I had to pick her up, and I just needed a little bit of comfort while I was trying to continue and finish watching this movie. Like, it was so much. And, okay, I'm hoping some of you guys have seen the movie because I don't think I need to describe everything, but there's this one part when there's the auditions after Elisabeth finally gets Sue and everything, and so Sue's gonna audition and everything for what Elisabeth used to do as the job, the fitness thing, right? And so these two guys, they're the ones that are auditioning, and there's this girl, apparently she's just not pretty in the face. And so they're like, oh, if only she had this boob instead of her standard nose, that'd be way better. Well, what happens at the end? After the monster gets decapitated, it grows back, and then something else, okay? Something else grows out. And I am not knowledgeable about anatomy, okay? Like, I have watched plenty of Grey's Anatomy, but they don't exactly show that kind of stuff because that would be a little TMI, and it wouldn't work for TV, right? But yeah, a single breast pops from the head and lands on the ground. It was so disgusting. That is so gross. Like, that was ew, ew, ew. So, I don't know, like, when I saw that, I was like, there's no way that's how it actually would look or anything. But I don't know. It was weird, like, they just had the craziest stuff happening at the end there. So, obviously, yes, there are plenty of aspects to this movie that I was like, horrified by, grossed out by, disgusted by, you name it, right? But I still think it's interesting. Like, I kind of like to see the behind the scenes. I think from what I have heard about the script, it sounds very interesting. So if they give access to the public, I think that would be interesting to check it out. a little bit, instead of some of just the visual stuff we ended up seeing in the movie, maybe the description, because I heard like a lot of it is description, a lot of it is standard words, things that are more outside of just talking, which I thought was interesting. Like dialogue is actually a very small percentage of this script. So I'm like, you know, it sounds intriguing. So if they give access, you know, I could definitely check that out, but there's definitely some parts of this that's like, too much. Now there's a part of me, small part of me, but it would be kind of interesting to watch the movie again. Not fully, but basically watch the beginning, the middle, not the end, but like those parts. Like there was a part of me that after I was done, I almost wanted to just watch, you know, before the psycho-ness happens, right? I wanted to watch those parts again, like almost like a little, no, nothing happened after that. What are you talking about? Like to almost like trick myself that that's not what happened at the end there, because that was so freaky and gross. One of the best aspects of this movie is the music. Like they did a really good job at that. And I definitely listened that first day. I definitely listened to The Substance, like that title song in the soundtrack multiple times. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, they did really good with the sound, with the soundtrack in general. I thought that was very good. Now, there's actually something that's kind of interesting with this movie in regards to music. The parts that don't have music. I thought they were pretty impactful. I thought they did a very good job with those parts. Now, I do think this was a good movie. It was pretty well done, and it had a very important theme. But just the aspects that were so horror-filled, no. It did not work for me. It was too much for me. Like, that was a lot. Like, again, to cut back to what I was talking about, I thought the thing where she takes the substance, the thing opens her back up, right? So cuts, you know? And then the younger version of herself comes out. I thought that was going to be the freaky thing. Now, like, part of the sewing and everything, sewing her back up and everything, was kind of gross, but it wasn't that bad, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't too shabby. Maybe I can handle this. No. Like, this is an absolutely bonkers, insane movie. Even the horror fans were like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Like, this is a crazy movie. So a note I made right after I finished the movie was I was feeling kind of iffy about it. Like, there were some parts that I was like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I was in more the limbo of good, bad, I don't know. Like, it's a bit crazy, okay? It was a lot. So, in general, I'd say because of how gross a lot of the movie was, it was very hard for me, but I'd say I'm more solidified in how I feel. Like, it did what it came to do. Of course, it's going to be horror. It's a horror movie. It's just a lot for me, because that's not what I do. That's not what I watch. So, I mean, but even like I'm saying, the horror fans, even they're like, oh. But I know there's a lot of love to this. I know for Halloween, because obviously it came out before Halloween. I just happened to watch it on Halloween Day. But I know so many people who dressed up as the monster, which I think is crazy. The substance itself, either Elisabeth or Sue, you know. So I definitely think lots of people liked it. And some parts of it I definitely enjoyed too. But it's still a lot. It's a lot. It's a movie, right? To get back to the food horror for a second, like, that was awfully grotesque, particularly the part with Dennis Quaid and everything, but just in general, it's so gross. And yeah, after I finished watching the movie, yeah, I was super disgusted by the creature, okay? I was. But the food itself, and just in general, I could not eat for a number of hours after watching. I'm like, I can't eat food? Are you kidding me? Like, and it was the worst thing, because then I was hungry, and I was like, no, we are not eating until I can actually stomach it. Like, no, we are not doing it. Now, my next point, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are like, there is no way that is true. She's 100% lying. No, I'm 100% real with what I'm about to say. That one part after, it's like 3 months that Elisabeth has not been activated. So it's just Sue. She's been taken over and everything. So then she comes back because it's not going to work out well for Sue for a while. So she comes back and Elisabeth looks terrible. She looks like she's several centuries old, right? Like it's not just old, right? No, like it's way worse than that. And she does look gross and disgusting. Obviously not as much as Monster Elisabeth, but in general, like just very gross. But here's the thing. This one shot they have, okay, if you have not watched the movie, and if you don't know much about the movie, basically, anytime they're in this bathroom, which is where they switch, okay? They have, 7 days each, then they switch. For some reason, they're always naked when they do it. I don't get it. Like, I don't think you could easily still keep clothes on, but whatever. This is how the filmmakers decided to do it. But either way, so she's 100% naked, right? And yeah, like they pan out from the feet to somewhere around the butt, okay? And it's gross. It is disgusting. But then they shoot to this guy, the guy who has been with Sue. And I'll tell you what, while this unbelievably disgusting and very old, freaky Elisabeth is around, her butt is not as gross as that guy's butt. Like the hair all over it, just in general. I was like, jump scared. No! Like it was so gross. So I know some of you are probably like, there is no way she's actually more disgusted by that standard human butt. No, I was grossed out. I did not appreciate it at all. So back to closer around the end of the movie with Monster Elisabeth. When she changes to that, when it's too much for Sue and things are starting to break apart and everything, she has to go back. So she does that, and then Monster Elisabeth rises. And, oh, it was so gross, dude. So gross. And I just thought it was interesting. I saw someone interpreted it differently, but this is the way I saw it. Even Monster Elisabeth could not bear to look at herself. She was like, she was, let me try to demonstrate so you're about to not see me for a second. Okay, so this is like this part, okay? And this is the part where we don't see her yet, but like say this is the mirror, okay? So this is the mirror, and so she slowly comes, and then she ducks right back down. Like she was so grossed out by it. And it's like, yeah, exactly, it's just nasty, it's gross. And then we hear every single sound, just like I said. It's like, ooh, it's so gross. So, I'd still kind of like to hear the lady who created this movie, like, why did you have to do it so extremely? What was your point? Like, I understand a big old part of the point, but I don't think you had to be that severe with it. It was a little extreme, Now, the one part where Sue, this is obviously when she's about to do the New Year's party. This is after she killed Elisabeth and everything. So she goes to the thing. She's all dressed up, ready, set to go. She's looking great. Well, what exactly happens? Things are starting to break apart. She's losing her teeth. Her ear falls off. And then her fingernails go, right? I thought it was interesting because she picks it off. Okay, she picks up the whole thing. She picks it off. And it reminded me, so back in 2020, early 2020, is when I watched The Handmaid's Tale. Not all of it, because it just got too depressing. But for a time, I was watching The Handmaid's Tale. So there's this one part where, because basically what happens for the rejected ladies, the ladies that can't have kids, and in general, if you're just too defiant, that's where they send you, this place where there's all this radiation. So there's this one lady who's supposed to, she's not the one who's like the handmaid, she's one of those monster people that lets these women get, almost like a little slave owner. I don't know how to describe it because it's been too long since I watched it, but basically all the women there that obviously have been, you know, so harmed by people like her, and she herself did it. So one of the things they do is she has this bar of soap. You know, every single one has a bar of soap. It's not a great bar of soap. It looks pretty disgusting, but in general, because of the radiation, full-on fingernail she picks it off, puts it on her soap. And for the longest time, that's what freaked me out most about The Handmaid's Tale. Like, I'm not saying I'm insensitive to the horror of obviously what happened in The Handmaid's Tale. Just in general, that was the thing that super grossed me out. I just thought it was interesting in this movie that barely affected me this time. It's just like, oh yeah, remember how I was absolutely horrified and traumatized for life? At least for a number of years I was. But just interesting, you know? Like, but I will say, the difference between little old me, 2020 versus 2024, well, I have seen things. I have witnessed horrific movies. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's such worse things than a little bit of a fingernail. Not to say, if my fingernails started falling off, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the doctor, help. But in general, just interesting. Just to go back to a second for the thing that happens with the back, and so then Sue starts sewing up Elisabeth. One thing there that I thought was really crazy, like I said, part of it when she first starts putting the needle in and tries to repair it and everything, or at least put it more back together. What I thought was crazy, again, not a surgeon, don't know much about surgery, just whatever Grey's Anatomy taught me, but I thought it was the craziest thing. You're telling me the whole thing, like the back, is open, okay? Like, open. And so she kind of sews it up. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she should more super close to each other. Like, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know? Like, I just thought that was kind of weird. It felt like too much of the back was still protruding out. I don't know how part of it was healing later on in the movie. Obviously, it's a movie, so it's not a real thing. It's still just kind of crazy to me. It's like, I'm still focused on that. I'm still thinking about it. I forgot I had this one little joke. This came way later, but like I said, pretty much right away, the day of, I canceled the movie. I was like, okay, I'm done. That's it. You know, watched it. I didn't see anything else interesting, and I got out of there. So, here's our little joke. Just like a man, I got what I wanted and dipped. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, comment below, and if you liked this video and would like to see more movie content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time. Bye!